Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fellowship. My name is Adam Hawk, and I am joined for the 101st consecutive time by Ryan Engle. Thank you for pressing play on this iPod broadcast. We will do our best to pay off your gracious decision with a hearty episode of high-quality banter. The hardest part about today's show is picking a place to start, because the Americans ragdolled the international team at the President's Cup. I ragdolled a playing competitor in a big money golf match at his own country club this weekend. And over in Canby, Indiana, a local golfer literally ragdolled another local golfer and is now looking at 16 years hard time in the slammer. So I will ask you, Mr. Engle, where do you want to start?
How'd coaching go this weekend?
That's where you want to start?
People are on pins and needles. They want to know what happened with the blue bananas.
This shit is bananas.
And what the hell is a blue banana?
B-A-N-A-N.
So glad you asked. I guess we'll get into it right now. The last 2 weeks on this show, we have covered my disappointing season as my daughter's soccer coach.
That's one way of putting it.
Last week, we were 1-3 on the season with only 3 goals scored in 4 games, and we were in 6th.
Is that like another form of hat trick?
It's the hat trick that was spanned out and spread out over a month.
A really sad seasonal hat trick?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay, continue on.
So last week we were 1-3 on the season. As mentioned, only 3 goals scored in 4 games, and we were in 6th place out of 7 teams in our division. And Ryan, you even floated the idea that the parents should get together and fire me and appoint my assistant to head coach.
Winning's a pedigree, folks. Some guys are born with it. Other guys have to work towards it. Where do you fall in?
I'm clearly working towards it.
Yeah.
The only team below us in the standings goes by the name the Blue Bananas.
What the hell is that?
And coming into this weekend of division play, the Blue Bananas were winless on the season. Well, guess who we played on Saturday?
The Blue Bananas.
The Blue Bananas. You're damn right we did. In sports, they call this a get-right game. We're on a 3-game skid. Goals have been hard to come by. Confidence is low. So we need the Blue Bananas on the other side of the pitch to get right.
And the Blue Bananas came guns a-blazing, didn't they? Did they? Honest question here. Were you like, okay, yes, we need this win. Yes, this is a pivotal moment, yada, yada. Was there a moment where you're like, oh, shit, what if we lose?
There was a moment, and I'll get to that moment in just a moment. The day before the game, our good pal Boston Titansor dropped by the office on business, and I ended up showing him the standings and explaining how bad we needed this game against the Blue Bananas. So Boston texts me on Saturday morning, and it reads, quote, "What time is the game? F*** the Blue Bananas. What a dumb name." End quote. Yeah. The next text I get is from Justin Jung, and it says, quote, "Today is the Super Bowl for Hawk." And then one final text message from you that said, quote, "I have a bad feeling about this game." End quote.
And boy, was I right.
So there's some investment from interested parties. Not going to lie. I was loving it. I was loving the buzz, the hype.
Yeah, you were bouncing off the walls coming out of the media room.
Very excited, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of eyeballs, a lot of attention. And I couldn't wait to get the win and to text you dudes back. So the game starts. We are firing on all cylinders. Great ball movement, lots of energy and aggression. And about 10 minutes into the 25-minute first half, goal! 1-0 Ender Dragons. We are up early. We're looking good. 10 minutes later, the Blue Bananas leveled the match. It's 1-1 going into halftime. Now we got to do something we haven't done in over a month. And you know what that is, Engle? We got to score a second goal.
Yeah, well.
Not easy. Unfortunately for us, the Blue Bananas came out hot, and they ripped one into the back of our net. It is 2-1 bad guys. And
Wow.
now I am panicked. There's less clock, and we are down for the first time all game. So I go to my daughter, and I tell her, I need you to get pissed. I need you to go into angry mode. I need you to go kill.
Great coaching.
2 minutes later, she dribbles through 2 defenders. Levels the match 2-2 with 10 minutes left. I don't even celebrate. We're now in the 12th round of a prize fight, and the next punch is going to knock someone out. So who's going to land it? With 4 minutes left in the game, the Bananas reached back, loaded up a haymaker, and landed it directly on our jaw, shattering it into a million little pieces. Their sideline sets off car alarms. That's how insane they went. They've wanted this for 6 weeks. And with the ref's whistle on minute 50 of the game, it was all over. Bananas 3, Ender Dragons 2.
Wow.
The thrill of victory on one side, the agony of defeat on the other.
Now, do you honestly think you're cut out for this kind of stuff? Or maybe are you you're kind of reaching a little bit?
I think about this a lot. I think about the head coaches that head into media rooms after 8-game, 10-game, 15-game losing streaks or seasons in football where they go 3-13. And I admire the guys that have to get up there and answer the questions after loss, and all they want to do is go win games, not for them, but for their players. And so, yes, I think I'm the right guy for the job because I want to go win one for the Dragons.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, what a tough loss.
It was very tough. We were halfway through the season in terms of games played. We have 5 left. We are currently 1-4. And, folks,
Last place?
we are in last place.
Like, not tied for last.
Dead ass last.
Last.
Because we do not own the head-to-head tiebreaker against the team we are tied with, the Blue Bananas.
Oh, my goodness. That's...
Brutal. Shall we talk about the President's Cup?
Yeah, let's talk about it. What a bird's eye look from above of everything that's wrong with golf. Let's overreact to our celebrations and make that the normal thing in match play now. How budget is it? Are people really that excited for it?
No, I don't think people are excited about it. I think this is the quintessential poster child for golf's horrible habit of trying to tell you something is meaningful and important when it's really the exact opposite. Pro golf does this a lot. We've talked about it. You see it with the FedEx Cup. You see it with Capital One's The Match. You see it with the Waste Management Open. You will see it soon with the TGL Community College Simulator Golf League. Pro golf tries its damnedest to add lore to certain events that have all the cachet and charm and sex appeal of a school bus fire. The President's Cup is on the mantle for this exercise in futility. Before we get into the 2024 edition of the Ryder Cup's bastard little stepchild, would you like a little history on this event?
You know, I would love a little history on the event.
I say a little because there isn't much history with this event. The President's Cup was invented in 1994. It is 30 years old.
And boy, can't you tell.
If the President's Cup could talk, it would say words like sus and sigma and no cap. That's how Gen Z in years this event is. Beyond the lack of history and tradition is how utterly ridiculous the premise is. The Ryder Cup pits the Americans against the Euros, and it's glorious for reasons far too vast to name here.
I don't know, Revolutionary War. That's kind of a rivalry.
Yeah. One country invented golf, the other made it famous.
Yeah.
It's an incredible, legendary event for so many reasons. But because that event is so successful, the Ryder Cup, and great, someone at the PGA Tour 30 years ago decided to copy it. And they said, let's make another Ryder Cup, but it will be the Americans versus, everyone that isn't European. And we'll call the other team the Internationals, even though it should be called the Internationals minus Europe. And we'll call the event the President's Cup, even though most other countries call their leader something other than president. Sound good to everyone? Great. Call Jack. Let's do it. Now, the reason this comes off like a B-side album is because it is a B-side album. Remember, the best songs make the record and the others hit the cutting room floor. And there's no two ways about this. The best players are in Europe and the United States. So having the U.S. play a team of non-Euros is like watching the Globetrotters play the Washington Generals.
Those South Koreans were sure mad this weekend. God, the most robotic pros all season all of a sudden have a chip on their shoulder. Was that scripted? I think those guys were coached. I didn't think it was real.
There's a lot of merit in what you just said that perhaps they dial this up because they're told it's match play. 1 year, Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy went back and forth at Hazeltine. Now everyone has to do that.
The WWF, American Gladiators celebrations are one thing. Whatever, I get it. You were probably born in 1994 and you didn't have cool enough grandparents. Not your fault. That being said, everyone knows you don't fucking run on the greens, dude. So slow your fucking roll, bud, especially if you're over 200 pounds. My God, I don't care how squishy your fucking modern golf shoes are. Go run in the rough, you idiot.
Well said. But one team is going to dominate, and one team is going to get pants down clowned when the U.S. plays the Internationals minus Europe. The President's Cup has been played 15 times. The United States has won 13 of them and tied one. They haven't lost since 1998. The U.S. winning percentage as of yesterday is 93%. Does anyone want to watch something where the outcome is 93% predictable?
The answer is no.
Beyond that, there are only two non-U.S. and non-Europeans in the current top 20 of the world golf ranking, and their names are Hideki Matsuyama and Adam Scott. No disrespect to either of these two dudes because I like them both, but come on, Adam Scott turned 100 years old earlier this year. And there's an old saying in golf, if your second best player is Adam Scott, you're taking second place in a head-to-head team golf match.
Especially if you're putting with a tent pole. That ain't even a broomstick, dude.
Right.
That thing holds up fucking easy ups.
Look, I don't know how anyone wants us to genuinely spend time on this thing because this thing is kind of a joke. I get that it's not a joke to the players, and it means a lot to represent your country, or in the Internationals case, represent the good old INT minus the entire continent of Europe. And I get that it means a lot to the captains, and it means a little too much to Keegan Bradley.
Doesn't everything?
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, look. I don't want to sound like the judge right here and be the gatekeeper, but if your pre-shot routine has straight up Tourette's, it gives me kind of an idea that maybe you're not the best dude.
You know, Keegan had a really great outcome on Netflix's Full Swing Season 2 when he was passed over for the Ryder Cup team that went to Rome because Zach Johnson had dinner with Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and they got all buddy-buddy and said, let's go win this thing in Rome, and none of them scored a point, and Zach Johnson looked horrible. And Keegan, knowing that the cameras were on him, decided to root harder than anybody for the USA because it's country over guy. And I just didn't really buy how into the Ryder Cup team he was because he got passed up when he shouldn't have for three guys that were not playing great golf. You know what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's time for a coffee break.
Is it?
Yep. I need some U-Band.
All right, send us to break.
This break is brought to you by U-Band. And we're back.
And speaking of back, let's get back on the President's Cup. My question is, Are we, the fans, supposed to show up to work today drenched in the red, white, and blue because the varsity football team just beat up the JV squad? Are we supposed to care at all? I think a really great way to judge if something is resonating in real time with a fan base is by your own text messages. And here's what I mean by that. We're all golf fans, and we all know that when the Masters is on, your phone is blowing up Thursday morning through Sunday afternoon. Everyone you know who even likes golf just a little bit is in your messages doing live play-by-play because we're all watching the same thing and because it matters. The same is true, to a much lesser degree, for the rest of the three majors on Sundays, and you'll get a few conversations going during the Players' Championship, and you'll get a hell of a lot of conversation going during the Ryder Cup. Do you know how many text messages I got during the President's Cup yesterday?
3.
1.
I think me too.
From Tony Baccardi, who told you and I on a group text that this thing, the thing being the President's Cup, could be over by 12 noon Pacific time. And credit to Tony, he was right. It was over before they got halfway done with the singles matches.
Wow, that's exciting.
So to me, the President's Cup is lame. And it's not a fair fight. And there's no history other than the history that the U.S. has won 13 and a half times out of 15 events, and it's an absolute 0 on the public interest meter. I will say this. It was nice to watch a team event without Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, or Ricky Fowler being there.
Yeah, that's a big change.
And it's nice. What happened in Rome was watching three guys who have been there 1 year too long.
Mm-hmm. How bad of a season or seasons are you having when Russell Henley's taking your spot? I didn't watch any of it, and I saw some highlights last night when we had the tube on for dinner because Dad was watching football, and it showed a highlight, and I was like, Russell Henley's there? He's smiling there. I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
He looks shocked.
Nice to not see Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, or Ricky Fowler, and even better to not see Zach Johnson anywhere near a walkie-talkie or a clipboard.
Oh, my God.
Also, Xander Schauffele is as good at golf as he is awkward and try hard at smoking a cigar.
I know, dude.
And that's another thing. Cigars are for the Ryder Cup. How about you go win one of those and then light up a stick?
It's funny because he's done the same look every time.
Every
so far.
time.
And he looks straight into the camera, and he's kind of scrunching his eyes a little bit, and he's trying to look like mean or determined,
Yep.
but he's got this smirk behind it coming through, and it just looks like a kid who's a bad actor trying to look tough when he's laughing. There's that same look again.
Yep.
There it is. It's funny.
Xander, winning the President's Cup calls for a vape.
Yeah. What flavor? Blue banana?
Ooh.
This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N.
Cigars are for the Ryder Cup, bud.
I'm just more uninterested in all of this because of the American Gladiator celebrations. It's so obvious what they're doing, and it just does not come across completely genuine. It's almost like because this isn't frowned upon for these types of events, that these guys feel the need that they have to do it. It just doesn't feel completely real. The whole where he's putting the putter in and saying it's inside the leather and stuff.
Tom Kim.
Listen here, Tom. That would have made sense if you had some leather on there. But when you're putting with a mallet and a super stroke grip, go ahead and finish that, bud. Because it looks to me like you have some insecurities about your putting stroke because you've got 2 game improvement fucking items on that piece of steel shaft. Respect you. Glad to be here. Love the opportunity. Just letting you know before we get going here today, Tom, you're putting everything out. I would have told him that on 1. Just go ahead. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to turn my back. My caddy will let me know if it went in or not.
Okay, I do have a few more topics to get to. This one I'm just going to wing from the hip,
Well, that's odd.
and it might be a little awkward.
Let's do it.
Some background here, folks. 3 years ago, Ryan Engle invited me to play in the Indian Wells member guest. great invite that I took him up on, but part of playing in that member guest required having a handicap index because it's a net event and it's flighted. And so in order to get the handicap index, this was back in 2021, I needed to join the SCGA or a golf club.
What did you do before that?
I was a member at Birch Hills Men's Club,
So you had a handicap.
and then I let it expire.
Oh, okay.
Because I was under the horrible assumption that once you know your handicap, it's not going to fluctuate that much. So if people ask you, you can be like, well, I was a 14 a year ago, and I haven't really gotten better, so I'm probably a 14 now.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of those guys.
Yeah. So anyway, I needed to rejoin the SCGA, and this is before I worked at the SCGA, to get a handicap. And at the time, our dear friend, one might call him one of our best friends, Jimmy Tropicana, had a golf club and still does have a golf club called the Tropicana Golf and Barbershop Club. And I wanted to give my membership dollars to him because if I'm going to get a handicap index, I might as well give Jim the money.
Yeah.
So I got one for the Indian Wells member guest, and I got it through the Tropicana Barbershop and Golf Club. Great. 8 months later, I get a job at the SCGA. And part of working at the SCGA is getting a free handicap index. So for the last 3 years or so, I have been paying for a handicap index through Tropicana that I don't need and having a free one at the SCGA. But Jim is such a good friend and such a big supporter of ours that I just let that ride. Let it ride for 3 years. Beyond having two handicaps, one of them being free and one of them being paid for, I also never got a chance to get out to a Tropicana event because I don't live anywhere near where they host their events. So the time finally came last week for me to do something awkward, which is tell a good friend and a great supporter that I needed to resign my membership because essentially I'm paying for something that I don't use and I don't need. And I am in the mode right now of cleaning up subscriptions that I don't use. You ever done that? You ever go through and be like, well, I'm
Nope.
paying. You haven't?
No. I'm sure it's a mess. Charge it to the game.
Well, this one was at the top of the list for things that I didn't need.
Wow,
So
top of the list.
I don't use it and
Wow.
I have it for free.
You said it.
I'm not trying to be insulting to Jim.
Just awkward.
It's not awkward.
You said it was.
It was awkward to quit.
Feels awkward to me.
Anyway, I sent Jim a message that said, hey, bud, sorry to do it, but I have to resign my membership with the Trop Club. I've been
Yikes.
getting membership through the SCGA since I started there almost 3 years ago. I wanted to support you as long as I could. And as someone that doesn't live in the San Gabriel Valley and has not played in any of your events and who gets a membership for free, I hope you understand why I am resigning this membership. Jimmy wrote back after canceling my membership 5 words. All good, bro. Take care.
Oh, and that sends Adam Hawk into a tailspin, doesn't it?
I've been spinning out for 7 days.
Wow.
And here's why. It's because of his sign-off. Take care.
Here's why. And I know you have a take care take. But before we get to that, the reason why you have a problem with it is you. You're the reason.
What do you mean by that?
It's your style of doing things, which is why you have an issue with that.
What do you mean? My self-consciousness? What are you talking about?
Yeah. You are programmed to take that the wrong way.
To me, the words take care have such a finality to them. I have never said take care
Here it comes, folks.
to anyone that I don't plan on never seeing or talking to ever again. Take care is the shorthand way of saying you're dead to me.
If I know Jimmy, and I do know him quite well, when he hears this, he's going to give his patented, mouth open, loud Jimmy Tropicana laugh. And you know why he's going to laugh? Not at you. He's going to laugh at the fact that he did something so funny that got you so good, and he probably wasn't even trying to, and now he's probably so proud that he did.
When's the last time you ever told someone to take care?
I don't know.
Never.
I say it sometimes.
Take care?
Yes. It's not final. You clearly don't see each other a lot, and you're probably not going to see each other for a while, so it's like, take care. He probably genuinely meant something very nice with that. But you do you.
I read take care as you're
Oh,
dead.
we know how you read it.
You're dead to me.
Everyone knows how you read it.
I'll never see you
Yep.
again. Take care.
You took that, not to your heart. You took that to your little bubble gut belly, dude.
Jimmy, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Take care. We need to get him to come in here and give us that fucking
Sound drop.
sound drop.
Have him say take care.
Take care.
You want to talk about another golf match, and we'll do it rather quickly?
Can we?
Yeah, I'll do it quickly.
Okay.
Okay.
I mentioned on last week's podcast that I was playing at my friend's country club. I'm not going to mention who or where, but I've played at this country club with this person probably 6 to 7, maybe 8 times.
Why don't you want to mention him?
I just don't
Really?
want to respect the privacy.
Maybe.
And this person has had my number every single time he has brought me out. On the podcast last week, I suggested that because we are so similar in handicap index numbers, I'm a 12.5, he's a 13, that I should get some strokes because he knows the nuances of his golf course. He plays there 3 to 4 times a month and has for the last 10 years. And I've never beat him there, straight up. And we played for guest fees. Guest fees on the weekend, $125.
Wow.
Meaning that if I win, I play for free. If I lose, I pay my guest fees, and then I pay him guest fees on top of that. So we were looking at a $250 bet on my end. So for about a week, I was pretty nervous heading into this match. You know that I am a mental midget. Apologies to the short people. That's just the term. I didn't invent it.
Take care.
Show up to the yard Saturday after an Ender Dragons loss to the Blue Bananas. And I needed to play well. Warmed up pretty well on the range. We get out there, and the first hole is an uphill par 5. You've played at this joint before.
Mm-hmm.
I make an 8.
What, did you hit it in the shit?
3 different times I hit it into the shit, which is all on the right. It's a mountainside with a bunch of bushes. 3 different times the ball spit back out into the fairway. I end up carding an 8. and
Wow.
losing the hole.
Nice little trip
Yep.
to start your adventure.
Yep. Next hole, long par 3.
You lost the hole by 1, though, right?
Yeah. He made a
Nice.
7. Yeah.
Little 7-8 combo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hot start.
Yeah.
We're off to a pillow fight here, folks.
Yeah.
Next hole, I block one right into the green side bunker, short side myself, and hit the greatest bunker shot of my life, which landed 7 feet short of the cup, right on the line, trickled in the heart for a birdie.
What wedge did you use?
60-degree lob wedge.
The I2?
Uh-huh.
My wedge.
Yes.
Were any of the clubs in your bag yours?
No.
I love it.
The guy that I was playing with said, I have never seen someone peak athletically at the age of 37. It was a hell of a golf shot.
Love it.
And then I went to another level, and for me, shooting a 41 with 2 birdies on the front side,
You were hot.
especially at this joint.
You were hot.
I was hot.
Was the putter hot?
The putter was scorching.
Scorching hot. And were you just sliding fades out there with the driver? What were you doing?
A lot of fades.
A lot of fades.
Yep.
You finally let go of that low, farty draw that you were hitting.
Yep.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Wow.
We moved to the backside. I birdie 10 and then birdie 13. So now I have 4 birdies on the round with 5 holes to play, and I have never had 4 birdies on the round. We get to the par 5 14th. I'm on in 3 with a 3-foot uphill dead straight putt that I pull, miss the birdie, make the par, and then the wheels started coming off a bit. But by that time, I'd closed out the match 6-4, and I was up by 9 strokes. So I just got on the double bogey train to coast in at 83.
That's when you hammer down, dude.
But it was over.
That's why you lost to yourself.
Because
that would have been your best round ever, right?
it was an 83 that should have been a 78
77
or
78.
79. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were right there to take the bull by the horns, and you let off the gas. You can't do that. You have to at least go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, but I didn't. But I still won everything. The guy that I played wanted me to admit out loud that it was the luckiest round of my entire life.
This podcast is generously supported by Howie's Market.
Ryan, your wife recently visited Howie's Market.
That she did, Adam. That she did. In fact, she went with the entire family, and they all said the same thing we've been saying for years.
That it's worth the drive?
Worth the drive indeed. Look, it's one thing to have the best meat, seafood, produce, wine, liquor, and beer in the region, but it's entirely another to be the best damn looking grocery store too.
That's my favorite thing about Howie's. The aesthetics are incredible. This isn't some soulless, sterile, big supermarket. This is a boutique, wood-paneled, family-owned, old-school joint that radiates timelessness.
And that's why we call it a destination grocery store, Adam.
Speaking of family, my dad gave me the best tagline for Howie's Market.
Hit me.
Howie's Market. That's how we shop.
And you love to hear it.
Howie's Market, open 7 days a week and grilling on the weekends in the heart of the San Gabriel Valley. I have a story for you that comes out of Indiana, okay?
Indiana?
Yep. Here is the headline from Fox 59, Dateline, Canby, Indiana. Angry golfer scolds group for cutting and is badly assaulted after refusing to apologize, court docs reveal. A 54-year-old man was sent to the hospital after angrily confronting a group of golfers who cut in front of him and his group at a golf course on a Friday afternoon. According to multiple witness accounts, the man was badly beaten after refusing to apologize for calling a woman a derogatory term. I will give you the cliff notes of this article. This 54-year-old man was in a foursome that stopped at the turn at a municipal golf course. They stopped at the turn to get food and drink. The group behind them played through on number 10.
Which, without saying something, at least sparks the potential for a discussion. But from a municipal standpoint, if you're going to stop, you kind of just left the barn door open a little bit. You could lose some livestock. You got to be on your toes. You got to communicate at the public tracks. I could see how both sides are a little wrong there.
The 54-year-old who had stopped at the turn went up to the group that had played through, that was already in the fairway. So they had hit their tee shot. They were in the fairway. You could argue that the group that stopped could just go to the tee box and continue to play in rhythm if they're already in the fairway about to hit their second shot. But
Depends on where the next group is.
That's true.
Right.
But this 54-year-old did not do that. He drove up to them in the middle of the fairway. He approached the group. He
came in with a red ass.
The biggest red ass.
Yeah, see, that's a problem, dude.
He approached a man named Jerry Whitaker, who is 34 years old, 20 years younger than him. He verbally assaulted this man, Jerry Whitaker, and then turned to Jerry Whitaker's wife and called her the C word.
Nice. Is he Australian?
No.
If it's got an accent, kind of flies.
Yep.
I do believe it's the accent, yeah, because you can say it in Australia, you can say it even more in the UK than you can in Australia.
Yeah,
If you're in Australia, that's just saying hello.
JT, you good cunt. What's happening?
yeah.
But if you're in America, that is grounds for a beating. So Jerry Whitaker, husband to the wife that just got called the C word, took this 50-year-old man, punched him multiple times, and then body slammed him into the concrete cart path, broke his ribs, punctured a lung, and
He's fucked.
broke a piece of vertebrae in the 50-year-old's back as a result of the
That
assault.
dude's going to jail.
He did go to jail. The 34-year-old went to jail. And he is looking at 16 to 30 years for aggravated assault.
Yep.
A lot of things going on here. One, there's the skipping a group that stopped at the turn. Two, there's the guy rolling up on you when he didn't have to and then calling your wife the C word.
When grow the game goes bad.
Well, I saw a great comment on Reddit that said, Shrink the Game just claimed 2 new victims. Because the guy going to the slammer, not playing golf for 16 to 30 years.
Yeah.
The other guy not playing golf for 16 to 30 months as he recovers from a broken rib and broken vertebrae. I got to imagine that a 54-year-old is not going to recover from getting body slammed into a cart path for quite some time.
Yeah.
Where do you come out? Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong?
Technically speaking, the gentleman always wins. So even if someone's going to handle something poorly, you fucking went around them without saying anything. It's your responsibility to ask or wait till you're waved through. You don't just get to choose to play through. So technically you are in the wrong. Now, the old guy handled it poorly for sure. I think if you were going to honestly ask the dude that's sitting behind bars right now and facing a sentence and hiring a lawyer and quite frankly probably altering the trajectory of his life, hey, would you have done this a little different? Yeah, I would have diffused the situation, gone back to the tee, let those guys play, and fucking enjoy the rest of my round and go home and have a steak dinner. You never get anywhere buying into someone's emotions, whether it's violent, sad, whatever. You got to be Switzerland. Say a couple things or whatever, but if it's going to resort to fucking putting that much harm on someone, give me a break, dude. There's such a power being like, sorry, pal, my bad, letting him play through. You think that guy's going to play good after this? Now you're going to have front row seats. You're going to be right behind him watching him just have the worst fucking back nine of his life.
Right.
You're going to have a hot dog swing on 11. He's going to be constantly looking back, wanting to chirp if any ball gets close like they're hitting up on you. You're in his head for the rest of the round, and you got a front row seat for every putt coming down the stretch. That dude's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone that route.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this question. What sort of response does somebody deserve if they call your wife the C word?
Well, that dude 110% did not come up and start throwing the C word right out of the gates. That dude came up and was like, what the fuck? You're playing through? You didn't say anything. And then those guys gave it back to him. So you just put fucking kerosene on the fire, dude. That's why it got to that point. So yeah, it gets to that point and you want to defend your lady, but you kind of brought it there. You're dealing with a wild animal. What are you going to do? Poke it? Provoke it? No, dude. That guy's wrong. You skipped and then you fucking couldn't handle the heat. Yeah, red ass isn't the way to go. But dude, defuse, brother. It's golf. Get the fuck off the course, all of you. How about that?
Yeah.
Fucking beat it.
Yeah, these sound
We
like,
don't need any of you.
these sound like the two worst groups.
And
imaginable.
what fucking man brings his wife to the golf course and picks a fight with a guy? So clearly you're dealing with an asshole already. You don't have any self-control. You're going to get in a police arresting you type of fight on a golf course? What are we even talking about? This is why the lowering the decorum, the guard, the gates, playing this game to the lowest common denominator just for quote-unquote growth. This is why you have these pros snapping clubs, having poopy diapers, getting into it with the powers that be, chirping all the time, celebrating like a freaking baboon on fucking cocaine. This is the result of all that, you guys. It's over and over again. How many fucking videos do we have to see of guys running each other over with carts and fucking missing a putt and taking a divot on the green? This just falls all into that same category. So all you guys who cape up and get your pom-poms out for this whole grow the game, you guys are gatekeepers. Maybe we are.
Maybe.
But you don't see us acting like a bunch of fucking idiots.
Could you imagine punching a guy and then being like, that's not enough, I'm going to punch him 2 more times and then I'm going to rock bottom him into a cart
Well, I mean,
path?
that says a lot about this guy again, is that you're clearly going to win. It's already over, dude.
We have a question here from Wallace Revel. I like Wallace. Nice guy
That's a cool name.
on Instagram. He wants to know what the go-to order at In-N-Out is. I don't know where he lives, but he says his city is getting an In-N-Out burger, and he wants to know for his first trip through the drive-thru what he should get from a couple of seasoned Southern Californians.
Well, if you like spice, you go double, whole grilled onion, add pickles, add chopped chilies. Give me the shit soaked in vinegar with a little kick. Let the burger piss out the back a little bit every bite. Let's do the damn thing. Let's get into this.
I'll say this, Wallace, whatever you get will be a good choice because In-N-Out doesn't do anything bad. And you need to wash it all down with a Diet Coke with lemon.
Oh, every time.
I had 2 of the best Diet Cokes with lemon of my life this weekend. On Saturday, I got it at the turn as I was applying my own body slam beatdown on my playing opponent. So good. Brings you right back to life. A little Diet Coke with lemon. And then had it last night when I made a carne asada homemade guac dinner for the family.
Here's a hot take. I had an In-N-Out Diet Coke, and I drank it down to about quarter left. And I was like, oh, man, I really need some more Diet Coke. So I went out in the fridge in the garage where all the sodies are, grabbed a fresh can, popped it, poured it in, took a sip. Not only was it different, it was a lot different. And I realized in that moment, right then and there, that not only is Diet Coke better out of a can, it's the only drink that's better out of a can. There is something different about canned Diet Coke. They put something special in those cans. It's the real silver bullet, folks. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if the aluminum just holds the carbonation better, but I'm telling you something right now. Go home and try it. Get a Diet Coke from anywhere. Put it in your little waxy cup. Take it home. Take a sip. Crack a can. Cold one. Take a sip of that too. And call me in the morning. Because, folks, you've heard it here first. Diet Coke, the can. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah.
We're back next week on the 7th of October for another podcast like we usually are on Mondays.
What are we going to do when I'm in Hawaii?
We want to say that again? Since you
What are we going to do when I'm in Hawaii? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? That sounds good.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at. I think we're taking the week off. I think we're taking our first ever week off.
We're going to miss one.
Unless,
you don't want me to do it in Hawaii?
Do you want to do it in Hawaii?
I don't know. It'd be kind of funny.
Okay.
Okay.
I like to tape these things at 6:30 in the morning Pacific time, so that would be 3:30 in the morning.
Well, I don't, Doug.
Well, I'm not, Doug.
We'll figure it out. We may or may not be off in a couple of weeks. We'll see. Engle's going back to the motherland. Is that what you call it? Hawaii?
Oh, yeah. The Aina.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of The Fellowship. We will catch you right back here next Monday.
Take care.